Welcome to Education and Safety. Today's special edition is curbside cooking. And what is it about? It is about this right here. It's about a single burner butane propane tank. I'm using a box to shelter the wind. Now, inside here, there is a small knob that goes on. Make sure that that knob that attaches to the connected gas pipe that goes to the gas pipe, all you do is turn it and make sure the top notch is in. Okay? There's a little notch underneath when you open this door, and there's a little lever. Make sure that the plastic thing is in. So this attachment is what I'm talking about. And this little lever has to be lined up. So let me just take it off and show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to slowly unscrew it until it comes right off. Just like so. And that's what the bottom looks like. And that is what the inside looks like. Right there. Now the most important thing is to make sure that you have this notch lined up with this little lever right here. This notch with this lever. And now you put it in just like so. Right there. Make sure the threads are lined up perfectly, because you don't want to strip these threads. Make sure the notch is lined up perfectly. I'm doing it with one hand, so it's a challenge. It's a challenge. Okay, so it's getting lined up. Now watch, I'm going to turn this until it stops. I'm turning it until it stops. Right? There. Once it stops, it stopped. You don't need to snug it or tighten it anymore. It stopped. Now this lever here comes out the side of this little tube, and right here is where it comes out. Now what we're going to do is line this pipe up right here. But I want to show you something interesting. See, there's a little nub on there. See that little nub? Right there. Right here. There's a little nub. That nub, which looks like a nub on a camshaft in a car. For those of you who knew what a camshaft is in a car, there's little nubs, and that tells when the valves are going to open and close. But here, that has to be lined up perfectly inside here. You have to line that up perfectly inside here, because the reason you line that up is because it's at an angle, so that when you actually use the propane tank, it's not going upwards, it's not going downwards, it's at an angle, just like that. And when you put this in here, I want to show you something. This is never going to be solid. That's never going to not move. Okay? That's always going to just have a little wiggle in it. Okay? Just like that. Ever so little. Now, let's get started. And we're going to put this in to the box. Close this up. And remember, you never push this lever down, ever. Don't push that lever down, because that lever will break if you push that down. Okay? So don't push that down. Line it up with the hole I cut in the box. Just like so. Right there. Right. That's centered. Now let's put this on here. This goes on just like this. Right there. And once it's lined up perfectly, which is going to be in an upward position like that, then you're good. And I'm going to tighten it up now. Just want to show you that there's some flexibility in this. Now, once it's tight, but there's a little bit of flexibility. Okay, and that little nub inside doesn't allow this to go up, down too far, or up too far. Okay, And I'm just going to make it so it's snug right at about like that position right there. And then the tank will get screwed in here. And make sure that you hold the tank and the silver piece so that you're not letting anything strip, and you line it up perfectly. Let me show you. Once you get the tank lined up perfectly, slowly rotate it until it comes to a snug. Now once it's snug, you just snug it up a little bit more, right there, right like that. That's it. Make sure there's no leaks that are coming out from here, and you never check it ever with a flame, and make sure there's no leaks coming out of here, and make sure that this box is snug against the side, just like that. So if any fumes are coming out, they're coming out the side here and not coming up in here, not coming up into the box. Make sure your grill is set up straight. You don't want to cook this way, you want to cook this way. So important. Okay, let's see and turn it on and see what happens. We're going to turn this on, it should click. Turn this on, it should click right here at the bottom. And we're good. You have a flame. Let's see it. There's the flame. The flame looks good. Let's get cooking. So I already put some eggs into the water, and I got the lid right here. I'm just going to set this on top. Let's see if it's hot. It's not hot anymore, so we'll just set that right on top. Most important thing is you can't see that flame, so be careful you don't burn yourself, and make sure you're okay. So this is going to cook pretty quick with the propane. This is a propane tank. I used butane this morning. The temperature was below 32 degrees, and it actually slowed down and stopped cooking. So I removed the butane. The butane tank that was inside this canister inside here that connects. You take that out when you use the propane like this right here. Okay, but the butane didn't work in cold temperatures, so I'm now using the propane tank. Now the propane tank, you're all set. This should boil probably in 2 to 3 minutes, and we'll do the rest of the eggs. There's a little piece of cardboard that I cut out from that spot right there. And I'm going to save that so that if I'm using butane, I can cover that up with a hole. So I'll save that. All right, don't forget to use your knee pad. Don't forget to use your knee pad. Don't forget to cover everything because it's sandy out here. You don't want sand in your food. And if it gets windy, you can get sand everywhere. This is a salad bowl that I had going. I washed my cucumber, I washed my apple, and always make sure you wash all of your food because all kinds of chemicals get spilled onto foods and so forth, and you want to make sure it's super clean of all chemicals and sprays or any kind of anything that, I mean, where this goes, it's amazing. Before it gets to your mouth, this goes everywhere. All right, so anyway, today I hope you got some education on how to use a butane, well, actually, I used a butane and it got too cold in this morning, so therefore, let's just start over. Welcome to Education and Safety. Today we're here at Curbside Cooking. I'm Mike. Let's just say that today I'm cooking. I started with butane, a can of butane inside the one burner, and then from there I went to propane because it was too cold and the butane wasn't working. Now what I'm doing is I'm cooking some eggs, and I'm also taking an apple and cutting it up right now and putting it into a salad bowl. How I'm doing that is by taking a pocket knife and just cutting out a little section of it at a time and not slicing it up because right now I don't have a cutting board. And I'll show you what I'm doing. All right, the eggs are boiling. We probably got maybe 2 more minutes to go and they'll be done. Let me show you what they look like. there it is. Eggs. Now, pertaining to the salad, right here, all we're going to do is take this pocket knife right here. It's a small little Leatherman, and I'm going to cut little pieces out, just like this. I dig them out, and I go down, I dig it out, and I just cut it like that in little pieces. And I do it around the entire apple. And then when I cut the cucumber, I'll just do the same thing. I'll just do little teeny chunks out of the cucumber. So this is what the apple looks like when it's all been cut up. I'll eat the rest of it off the core here, and then that's what the chunks look like, all cut up. Now I'm going to do my cucumber. So I cut the ends off the cucumber, and now what I'll do is I'll just take little teeny chunks using the knife, and I'll show you. Off just like that, all the way around till the cucumber's all finished. Eggs are done. Let's finish this up right here. Get these eggs out of the water. Place them right here, one at a time. And that should do it. Look at that. You know why I'm not shaking? Because my 7th vertebrae is not firing from the pinched nerve right now. See? It's not so bad. The pinched nerve's not so bad. Now to put them back in, I'm going to take them and put them one at a time. Just like this. Yeah, I'd like to see the actors of today do their own acting, filming, camera work, and everything. That's what I'd like to see. There you go. Lid goes back on. Turn it up a little. Turn it up a little bit just to get that thing boiling again. Make sure that they're covered. Water's covered. Yep, that's good. And once I hear it, I'll turn it down a little bit. Right there. Right there. I guess I could cut a hole in the side of the box but I don't want wind coming in here. I want wind to come in here. I want this all protected. Let's make sure we're boiling again. Good, we're boiling. Let's cut up that cucumber. So you ask, how did I wash a cucumber? All I did was take some water, put it on a towel, and then wipe the cucumber off, and that was it. That's how I did it. All right, so the eggs are done, and I got those finished. I put the potatoes into the container, topped it off with some water. So it's gonna take some time before it starts to boil. So I turned up the gas a little bit down there, the bottom switch. And the eggs are probably, 5 minutes is perfect. The potatoes, we'll see how long it takes. Let's see how it looks so far. Looks good. Once it starts to boil, then we should be good. So let's see how it looks so far. All right, so it's boiling. So I'm going to turn this down a little. Until it slowly comes to a simmer. So it slowly comes to a simmer like that. And then I'll just back it off a little bit more. Time that for 5 minutes and see how they look. Put a fork in it. Little safety precaution. I just want to let you know that when you turn down the gas, okay, let's get this, it's overflowing again. So what happens is, with the lid, it really starts to overflow quick. So I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. But if you turn it down too much, the gas turns off. And you have gas now staying within this box container. And you don't want any gas to not be burning, because now the gas is going to be in the box. When you go to light the flame, that's when you can have an explosion. And that igniter will ignite the gas that's around the box. And then potentially, if the container, if this was not on the outside of the container, that could potentially explode too. So that's why it's so important that you always keep your flame on. And now when I put this on just like this, if I put it on like that, right about there, that's going to immediately start to make it boil. Watch. Even with a crack. Let's take a look. See? I'm just going to go right about there. Right about like that. That way I can keep the flame going and potatoes are cooking. And I don't want to constantly have it overflowing and spilling. And there it goes again. So let's just have it just about like that. That should be good. Let's go out again. I'm just going to set this here for a second. I'm going to turn this down ever so little. Right there. Let's hope the flame is still on. We can check. Let's check. We'll move this over a little. We'll move this over a little, see if the flame's still on. Yep, flame is still on. 5 minutes is up. Let's take the lid off. Poke it with a fork. See if it goes in easy. Nope. They're still hard. So it's going to probably be about 10 to 12 minutes. Yep. Let's keep going. And you can see the color. See the color? So it doesn't go in. More time is needed. All right, we're doing 5 more minutes here to see what this looks like, and we got it angled. Let's stir them up a little bit. You can see how they're getting discolored on the edges. All right, so let's just take this lid off. Take a fork and just poke it, see if it goes in. It goes in pretty easy. Let's find a big chunk. Here's a big chunk. Goes in pretty easy. Let's try it again. Find another chunk right here. Go in. It goes in pretty easy. Let's try one more. Alright, so we're going to take that out and give it a test run and see how it tastes and see if it's done. A little salt, and you should be all good. We'll let those boil just like that. Let's see what it tastes like. All right, they are complete, and I'm just going to put them in a plastic bag. Let's take this off the burner. 2 hands. I'm going to set it over on the wood sticks and then take the potatoes out, turn off the propane. Alright, I'm going to take out the potatoes. I use a fork so that I can drain some of the water. Noticing I'm letting the water dry before I put it in the bag because I don't want my potatoes to get all soggy over here. So I'm letting it drain and I bring it over. There you go. Now if I wanted to, I could pour out the water, but since the lid, which I'll show you, the lid seals good that way, and this way I could hold it like that and drain the water out the side, just like that, and then have the potatoes in the bottom. Two hands to do that, one on each side. Remember, the container's hot, so you still have to use a towel. And we'll be done. Then I'll take the lid off the stove. Once it cools down, clean up the stove, remove the propane tank, remove the valve, remove the extra stem that's inside the container here, put that away, clean it up, and put the entire stove back in its plastic container that it comes with, and we're set. Now with the remaining hot water, I'm going to just take some of these grapes and pour them in here to wash them off. To just wash them off a little bit. So I'm using some of the hot water to just wash these grapes off. Alright. Take the stove out. And clean this off. Make sure it's not hot. And clean off your stove. All those little waters, all the little particles in it, it all adds up. Let's talk about the most important safety issue about cooking the way I'm cooking right here. This is really important. And the most important thing is this right now. Let's just go over it. Now, when the grill is on the stove, in the box, okay, you got your propane tank on the side, and you have a small, okay, let's talk about the safety issues right now about cooking in a box. When you have the propane tank, which is on the side over here, and a small little hole cut out on the side, when this grill is on, when you turn this on, you start to get gas coming out. Listen. So there's gas coming out. So the most important thing to do is to make sure you turn it on. When you turn it on with this lever, there's at the very bottom, it clicks. Make sure that click goes right away. Listen. It's on. And make sure you see the flame. It's hard to see the flame. Now, to turn it off, all you do is turn off the flame by turning off this lever right here. Watch the flame go out. The flame is out. If you turn this down, if you turn this lever down while you're cooking and the flame goes out here, and then you turn it back up thinking that the flame is still cooking, what can happen is this. Gas is going to build up here, and it's going to settle down, and this whole box area could get some gas in it. And then when you go to turn this and click it on, it'll light all of the gas that's sitting in the box. So you got to be extremely careful when cooking this way. If I take this panel off right here, the gas would flow out. So if you smell something, stop, turn everything off, wait till the smell dissipates, wait till the smell is gone, and then you can start to recook again. Now, if I take this panel off, that's not going to be a wind protector just with the three sides. So that's why it's so important to understand how to cook with a propane or butane grill that has gas. And that's why they tell you not to cook with this inside your home or a small room or a car, because if the actual propane or butane that sits in here in this small canister can area is not lit, it'll just come out and you'll smell it. And then what will happen is when you go to ignite it, all of those fumes are going to be ignited at once. So you got to be extremely careful. And that's why you never leave the canister in here, because if it engages accidentally, the propane, or I mean the butane in here, or propane, if you left the tank on, will just start to fill up with gas. And then when you go to turn this on, or some ignition in your car, or say for instance any kind of spark at all, will ignite that gas. So that's why it's so important to not be cooking in an enclosed area. But for wind purposes, it works great, but you just have to be aware. Okay, that's the most important thing about using this the way I'm using it in this style. And believe it or not, it works incredible using this to be able to cook and be more efficient, and the flame doesn't cook and blow out. Okay, so safety issues, education, curbside cooking, inside a box, protects by wind, but you have to be super safe using it. Never use a grill like this inside a car, because if the flame is not lit, there's no pilot light, so therefore when it's turned on, there's gas coming out, and that gas coming out has an odor. On that propane, I could smell it, and that is letting you know that it's not being burned. You need to turn it off really fast. Now, what happens in a home, if a home if the pilot light goes out, then you'll start to smell gas immediately. And that's extremely dangerous. You need to leave the home immediately, wherever you're at, and call somebody that understands, whether it's the fire department, or call someone else know how to deal with gas, because you do not relight something that smells of gas, because if you do, you'll have an explosion and it can be deadly. So that's really, really bad. So that's why this particular unit, the single burner, you don't cook inside your car, inside a caravan or whatever, because if it goes out and then something in your car has a spark, it'll ignite the gas. So that's why it's so important to understand why you shouldn't be using a single or a double burner. It doesn't have a pilot light, and therefore the gas can burn. All right, I hope you got some education on this. Super safe, and be super smart, because it really, really is a dangerous tool. Great to use, works great, but at the same time, you got to be really smart about it. Thanks for watching today, and I hope you got something out of this. And until again, keep on adventuring, keep on journeying, and what else? I don't know. Just enjoy yourselves. I'll talk to you soon. I hope you get to check out some of my other filming, and thanks again. On your propane tank, always put your cap back on, because if something gets in there and presses that nozzle, it's going to come out. So always make sure you put your cap back on, just like that, and they're safe. And that also goes true when you use your butane can. Always make sure that the cap goes back on. Read the danger and the warnings and everything about it. You must always read this stuff. For use with portable propane appliances and propane torches. Use only with appliances designed for propane gas. Read and follow the important safety warnings on the side label. Danger: extremely flammable, fire, explosion hazard, contents are under pressure, and carbon monoxide hazard is, now this is made in the USA, okay? And if you have any emergency information, you can contact that right there. Just want to mention that anytime that you wash grapes, before you put them in a bag or anything, always make sure that they're completely dry. Because if they're not dry, they're going to start to rot. So make sure they're dry, no water.